Hello and welcome back. Students, a very good morning to all of you. In the last class, we have seen that we have started the lesson, the interview. First part of the lesson has completed. Now, let's do the recap, whatever we learned in the previous video. So, this lesson begins with the introduction to interview as a commonplace of journalism since its invention, which was a little over 130 years ago. According to the author, it is not very surprising that people have distinct opinions about the usage of interview. Some of think in its highest form, whereas some people can't stand being interviewed. An interview leaves a lasting impression, and according to an old saying, when perceptions are made about a certain person, the original identity of his soul gets stolen. Famous celebrities, writers, and artists have been heard criticizing interviews. Rudyard Kipling's wife wrote in her diary how their day in Boston was ruined by two reporters. Kipling considers interviewing an assault a crime that should attract punishment. He believes that a respectable man would never ask or give an interview. This is an excerpt from the interview between Mukund, he's from Hindu newspaper, and Alberto Eco, a professor at the University of Bologna in Italy, who had already acquired a formidable reputation as a scholar for his ideas on semiotics. Semiotics means the study of science, symbols, science of study of science and symbols, literally interpretation, and medieval aesthetics before he turned to writing fiction. The interview revolves around the success of his novel. The name of the rose, whose more than 10 million copies were sold in the market. The interviewer begins by asking him how Alberto manages to do so many different things, to which he replies by saying that he is doing the same thing. He further justifies and mentions that his book about children talk about peace and non-violence, which in the end reflect his interest in philosophy. Alberto identifies himself as an academic scholar who attends academic conferences during the week and writes novels on Sundays. It doesn't bother him that he is identified by others as a novelist and a scholar, because he knows that it is difficult to reach millions of people with scholarly work. He believes there are empty spaces in one's life, just like there are empty spaces in atoms and the universe. He calls them interstices, and most of his productive work is done during that time. Talking about his novel, he mentions that it is not an easy read. It has detectives accept of the to it, along with metaphysics, theology, and medieval history. Also, he believes that had the novel been written 10 years earlier or later, it would have not seen such a huge success. Thus, the reason for its success still remains a mystery. So this was the first part of the lesson summary, which we have done the recap, which I taught you in the last previous video. Now we are moving to the second part of this lesson. This lesson is divided into two parts. The first part we have completed. Now we are moving to the second part of this lesson. Well, students, now we are going to start the second part. I'm going to read the paragraph. I am a professor who writes novels on Sundays. Alberto Eco. The following is an excerpt from an interview of Alberto Eco. The interviewer is Mukund Padmanabhan from the Hindu. Alberto Eco, a professor at the University of Bologna in Italy, had already acquired a formidable reputation as scholar for its ideas on semiotics, the study of science, literary interpretations, and medieval aesthetics before he turned to writing fiction. Literary fiction, academic text, essays, children's book, newspaper articles. His written output is strangely large and wide ranging in 1980. He acquired the equivalent of intellectual superstardom with the publication of the Name of Rose, which sold more than 10 million copies. So, the first paragraph I have read. So, your children, formidable means inspiring fear or respect through being impressively large, powerful, intense, or capable. I repeat, formidable means inspiring fear or respect through being impressively large, powerful, intense, or capable. Medieval means relating to the Middle Ages. Medieval means what? Relating to the Middle Ages. In this paragraph, aesthetics is given. Means a branch of philosophy that deals with nature and appreciation of beauty. Now the next word here, difficult word, strangling. Stranglingly means what? To an astonishing. Astonishing means what? Surprisingly or shocking degree. Okay, to an astonishing or shocking degree. So here in this paragraph, the author says that the following is a part of an interview of an Italian novelist named Alberto Eco. So his name was what? Alberto Eco. He said that he wrote novels on Sundays. Mugan Padmanabhan from the Hindu newspaper interviewed him. From the Hindu newspaper, Alberto Eco was a professor at the University of Bologna, Italy. Italy at that time. He was famous for his thoughts on semiotics, interpretation of writing, and the beauty of the Middle Ages. Later, he turned to write fiction. He wrote a variety of literature, fiction, academic text, essays, books for children, and articles for newspapers. He rose to fame in the year 1980 when his book titled The Name of the Rose became a bestseller. I repeat this paragraph again. In the following part is an interview of the Italian novelist named Alberto Eco. He said that he wrote novels on Sundays. Mugan Padmanabhan from the Hindu newspaper interviewed him. Alberto Eco was a professor at the University of Bologna, Italy at that time. He was famous for his thoughts on semiotics, interpretations of writing, and the beauty of the Middle Ages. Middle Ages means what? Medieval ages. Later he turned to write fiction. He wrote variety of literature, fiction, academic text, essays, books for children, and articles for newspapers. He rose into fame in the year 1980 when his book titled The Name of the Rose became a bestseller. Now moving to the next paragraph. Mukund. Now this is the interview between Mukund and Alberto Eco. Now Mukund asked the questions. So here Mukund asked, Mukund, the English novelist academic David Lords once remarked, I can't understand how one man can do all the things he means Eco does. So your interview begins by praising Alberto Eco. Mukund started the interview with Alberto Eco, and interview begins by praising Alberto Eco and quoting the words of David Lords, where he mentioned that it is out of his capacity to understand How one person here means what? Alberto Eco could be good and at so many things. So your interviewer begins his who is the interviewer here? Mugund. Mugund interviews whom? Alberto Eco, and he begins by praising Alberto Eco and quoting the words of David Lords, where he mentioned that it is out of his capacity to understand how one person means who this Alberto Eco could be good at so many things. And in that Alberto Eco says that maybe I give the impression of doing many things, but in the end I am convinced I am always doing the same thing. So what did the Alberto replied by specifying that maybe it looked like that he did a multiple distant task, but according to him he was only doing the same thing. Mugund asked, which is? Mukund asked him the same thing that Eco found himself doing. Mukund asked very curiously, asked him about the same thing that Eco found himself doing. So Alberto Eco says, now that is more difficult to explain. I have some philosophical interest and I pursue them through my academic work and my novels. Even my books for children are about non-violence and peace. You see the same bunch of ethical, philosophical interests, and then I have a secret. Did you know what will happen if you eliminate the empty spaces from the universe? Eliminate the empty spaces in all the atoms. The universe will become as big as my fist. Similarly, we have a lot of empty spaces in our lives. I call them interstices. Say you are coming over to my place. You are an elevator when you are coming up, I am waiting for you. This is an interstice, an empty space. I work in empty spaces while waiting for your elevator to come up from the first to the third floor. I have already written an article. He laughs. So what did the Alberto says here? That philosophical means here philosophical means relating or devoted to the study of fundamental nature of knowledge, reality or existence. Okay, philosophical means what? Relating to or devoted to the study of fundamental nature of knowledge, reality or and existence. Pursue means what? Follow. Ethical means what? Relating to moral principles. Relating to moral principles. So eliminate here means remove. Eliminate means what? Remove. So fist means a person's hand with when the fingers are bent towards the palm and held tightly, typically in order to strike a blow or grasp something. Like fist means what? This way. This is called fist. A person's hand when the fingers are bent towards the palm and held tightly. This is called fist. Typically in order to strike or blow, grasp or something. Interstices means what? Space or gap. Elevator means what? Lift. So here he found that in this when he says that he found that it is very difficult to put it into words, but began by saying that he had a specific philosophical interest that he continually sought to pursue through his academic works and novels. Talking about his books for children, they all talked about non-violence and peace, which were again based on ethics. Then he talked about his secret that worked in empty spaces of time. He called them interstices. According to them, these empty spaces were very crucial. If you remove the empty spaces from the atoms or from the universe would be very compact and just as his fist. So he was expecting someone over, that is, someone was coming to his house, and the guest took the elevator from the ground floor to his flat, on the third floor as Alberto waited for the guest. That time was an indices and he used that indices to write an article. That is how he worked in such empty spaces of time which many people waste by sitting idle and waiting. So, in this paragraph, he says that he found it difficult to put it in words but began by saying that he had a specific philosophical interest that he continually sought to pursue through his academic works and novels. Talking about his books for children, they all talked about non-violence and peace, which were again based on ethics. Then he talked about his secret that he worked in empty spaces of time. He called them interstices. According to them, these empty spaces were very crucial. If you remove the empty spaces from the atoms or from the universe would be very compact, just as big as his fist. So he was expecting someone over, that is, someone was coming to his house, and the guest took the elevator from the ground to his flat on the third floor as Alberto waited for the guest. That time was an exercise and he used that exercise to write an article. That is how he worked in such empty spaces of time which many people waste by sitting idle and waiting. Now Mukund asked that. Next question he asked. Not everyone can do that, of course. Your non-fictional writing, your scholarly work has a certain playful and personal quality about it. It is a marked departure from the regular academic style, which is invariably depersonalized and often dry and boring. Have you consciously adopted an informal approach, or is it something that just came naturally to you? So here Mukund mentioned that what he did was undoubtedly unique. His scholarly articles were very different from the usual academic style. The usual academic style lacked personal touch and was dry and boring. On the other hand, Alberto's writing had a certain playful and personal touch. He echoed that did he intentionally adopt an informal way of writing, or was he being natural? Now, for this, what did Alberto Eco said? When I presented my first doctoral dissertations in Italy, one of the professors said, scholars learn a lot of a certain subject, then they make a lot of false hypotheses, then they correct them at the end, they put the conclusion. You, on the contrary, told the story of your research, even including your trials and errors. At the same time, he recognized I was right and went to publish my dissertation as a book, which meant he appreciated it. At that point, at the age of 22, I understood scholarly books should be written the way I had done, by telling the story of the research. This is why my essays always have a narrative aspect. And this is why probably I started writing narratives so late at the age of 50. More or less, I remember that my dear friend Roland Barthes was always frustrated that was an essayist, not a novelist. He wanted to create creative writing one day or other, but he died before he could so. I never felt this kind of frustration. I started working novels by accident. I had nothing to do one day and so I started. Novels probably satisfied my taste for narration. So, here students, dissertation means what? A long essay on a particular subject, especially one written for a university degree or diploma. Dissertation means what? A long essay on a particular subject, especially one written for a university degree or diploma. Hypothesis means what? Theory. Frustration means what? Feeling of being upset or annoyed as a result of being unable to change or achieve something. Narration means action or process of narrating a story. So here Abato says that Abato narrated his story from his time in Italy, where a professor told that his thesis was very different from others. He had told his story along with including the trials and errors that happened during his research. Others, on the other hand, made false assumptions, corrected them, and put conclusions. This was the reason why the professor even published his thesis as a book. At the age of 22, he realized that his way of writing was the correct way, and this is why his essays were always in the narrative tone. Probably this was also the reason why he started writing novels at the age of 50. On the contrary, his friend Roland Barthes always wanted to be novelist along with being an essayist. Unfortunately, he died before he could do it, while for Eco it happened by accident, but novel writing satisfied his hunger for narration. Now, Mukund asking, Mukund, talking about novels, from being famous academic, you went on to becoming spectacularly famous after the publication of The Name of the Rose. You have written 5 novels against many more scholarly works of non-fiction, at least more than 20 of them. So, pointing out his novels, Mukund mentioned that he became astonishingly famous after the publication of the Name of the Rose. From a famous academic, he went on to become a famous novelist through he had written many scholarly works, 20 than novels 5. Umberto Eco over 40. He said 40. Uh, Umberto Eco corrected that he had written over 40 non-fictional pieces. Okay. Now Mukund over 40, among them a seminal piece of work on semiotics. But ask most people about Umberto Eco and they will say, oh, he is the novelist. Does that bother you? Seminal means what? Influential. Seminal means what? Influential. So amazed at hearing about Eco's over 40 scholarly articles, one of which was on the study of science, semiotics. He asked that if he was at all bothered when people remembered him as the famous novelist. Now, Umberto Eco. Yes, because I consider myself a university professor who writes novels on Sunday. It's not joke. I participate in academic conferences and meetings of pen clubs and writers. I identify myself with the academic community. But okay, if the most people have read only the novels and laughs and shrugs. I know that by writing novels, I reach a larger audience. I can't expect to have 1 million readers with stuff on semiotics. So, what did the Umberto Eco said? Replied to Mukund by accepting that yes, it did bother him being identified as a novelist. Umberto, on the other hand, identified himself with the academic community because he considered himself a university professor who wrote only on Sundays. He also attended academic conferences as opposed to pen clubs and writers' meeting. But on the other hand, Eco accepted that he was well aware that by writing novels he was reaching a wider audience because 1 million people would not obviously be interested in stuff on semiotics. Moving to the next question, Mughal, which brings me to my next question. The Name of the Rose is very serious novel. It is a detective yarn at one level, but it also dwells into metaphysics, theology, and medieval history. Yet it enjoyed a huge mass audience. Were you puzzled at all by this? So Mugund changed the topic and mentioned that the Name of the Rose was very serious novel, and still it managed to attract a large audience. It dealt with detective stuff and also metaphysics, theology, and medieval history. He asked Abato if he was at all surprised by his success. So your Abato Ecos gives the answer. No, journalists are puzzled, sometimes publishers. And this is because journalists and publishers believe that people like trash and don't like difficult reading experiences. Consider there are 6 billion people on this planet. Name of the Rose sold between 10 and 15 billion copies. So, in a way, I reached only a small percentage of readers. But it is exactly these kinds of readers who do not want easy experiences, or at least don't always want this. I myself at 9 p.m. after dinner watch television and want to see either Milami Vice or Emergency Room. I enjoy it, I need it, and not all, but on not all day. So here Abato replied that he was not at all surprised. The only people who were surprised were journalists and publishers. This was because it was commonly believed that people like easy reading experience and trash, while the truth was that through his novel he reached that small percentage of the population who liked challenging reading experiences. He understood like this, that because he himself yearned to watch shows like Milami Vice or Emergency Room after dinner, but not all day long. Now, Mugund asks, could the huge success of the novel have anything to do with the fact that it dealt with a period of medieval history? That so he asks about the possibility of success of the novel having to do something with its association with medieval history. So what did the Abato gave the last answer of his question. Abato echo, that's possible, but it let me tell you another story, because I often tell stories like Chinese wise man, my American publisher said while she loved my book, she didn't expect to sell more than 3,000 copies in a country where nobody has seen a cathedral or studies Latin. So I was given a advance of 33,000 copies, but in the end it sold 2 or 3 million in the USA. Lot of books have been written about the medieval past far before mine. I think the success of the book is a mystery. Nobody can predict it. I think if I had written the Name of the Rose 10 years earlier or 10 years later, it wouldn't been the same. Why it worked at the time is a mystery. So Abato says did not neglect the possibility. When Mukund asked this question, he did not neglect the possibility as he began to tell a story which he thought that he did not like Chinese wise man or wise old man. He mentioned that his American publisher expected not to sell more than 3,000 copies in a country like hers. No one had ever seen a cathedral or studied Latin language. To their surprise, they ended up selling around 2 or 3 million copies. Alberto considers success of his book a mystery. Had it been written 10 years earlier or later, the situation would have been different. So this was the lesson. We have completed this lesson. Again, I am going through the second part of the summary. This was the interview between Mukund and Alberto Eco, and Mukund was interviewing whom? Alberto Eco, and the it starts in this way. Here we go, second part. So here the question, the following, this is the interview between of the Italian novelist named Alberto Eco, and he said that he wrote novels on Sundays, and Mukund Padmanabhan from the Hindu newspaper interviewed him. Alberto Eco was a professor at the University of Bologna in Italy at that time. He was famous for his thoughts on semiotics, interpretation of writing, and the beauty of the Middle Ages. Later, he turned to write fiction. He wrote a variety of literature, fiction, academic texts, essays, books for children, articles for newspapers. He rose to fame in the year 1980 when his book titled The Name of the Rose became a bestseller. So, after this, they interviewed this is the interview part between Alberto Eco and Mukund. So next class we will discuss the question answers of this lesson. Until then, keep reading, keep practicing. Bye from me.